Did you know that attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, commonly known as ADHD, is far more common diagnosed than autism? Hi, my name is Jocelyn Santana Papaso, and this is my Persuasive Speech. And the topic that I chose is why medication doesn't help kids that suffer with hyperactivity. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a chronic condition which includes attention difficulty, hyperactivity, and impulsiveness. And it's actually one of the most common mental disorders that are affecting children. ADHD also affects adults, but this conversation is strictly on children and why medication doesn't help. It doesn't work. Or it shouldn't be the first resort when it comes to helping children cope with the illness. The numbers have actually increased in the past 20 years. In children, they can be diagnosed as early as 4 years old. And the primary treatment for ADHD is medication and psychotherapy, or a combination of both. According to the CDC, in most cases, people choose to use medication or decide in a combination. Unfortunately, ADHD medication has many unpleasant side effects that are often covered up rather than treat the symptom condition. I do feel that I do have a lot of experience around this topic since I've experienced both. I am a mother of a 9-year-old who was diagnosed with ADHD 2 years ago. He was 7. And I decided not to go the medicine route, which usually they prescribe a stimulant and a non-stimulant. I'm so sorry about the noise. Which kind of gives them the happy vibe that they can focus, or that it controls how they feel. I decided not to go that route, and one of the reasons I did that is because I grew up with my brother, my younger brother. He has ADHD as well, and he was on medication, and I have that thought in my mind of how he looked time after time when he was on the medicine. He was very quiet, very to himself. He rarely played. He rarely interacted with other kids. He was just like in a zone. And as a mother, I didn't want that for my child, because being on stimulants or non-stimulants have all these side effects that I will be talking about today. Even though I'm going in the nursing field, I do believe medicine works. I just feel that for children, it should be the last resort. That's kind of what my focus is today. I also feel that kids, their brain are still developing. Like, I feel like we shouldn't be giving kids medicine at such a young age. Researchers haven't had the opportunity to study long-term effects of the medicines that the kids are being prescribed. So due to the unpleasant side effects of ADHD medication, there is uncertainty of what this can cause the kids when they're older. One of the things I also feel about medication is that it doesn't teach the kids. It's not a tool of how to teach the kids on how to deal with their problem or their symptoms. It just kind of stops it. It's like a band-aid. That's how I see it. Usually ADHD run in families. It's like genetic. Some researchers say that it can be things that we eat can affect you having ADHD, but mostly is genetic. This diagnosis is usually more in boys than in girls, and in boys you can see more of the hyperactivity compared to girls. ADHD can impact the kid's life at school, at work, anything that requires focus as an adult. ADHD can impact it. To be diagnosed, a child has to go through an evaluation paired with a psychiatrist who will look at their symptoms, their medical history, and their behavior patterns. And this is how they go into the medicine route. One of the two most common medications prescribed is Ritalin and Adderall, which they're very known. But what they do is increase the levels of dopamine, in which the brain goes into focused attention. What we don't see is like, oh, they'll help you focus, but what do they help you focus on? Like for my brother, yeah, he was numbed and focused, but he will be focused on playing his game. It's not like it focused him on his schoolwork. It just focuses him. That's what I mean that medication is like a band-aid. It doesn't help with the symptoms. It just makes them focus. Some side effects that are very concerning with these medications is anxiety, decrease in appetite, and you see that in about 80% of children, they have a decrease in their appetite. Lack of sleep, which sleeping is crucial when you're growing. Sleeping is crucial for an adult, imagine a child. But these are some of the most concerning side effects that they have from the medicine. Also, I like to point out that anxiety is one of the things that you can have when you have ADHD. So being on the medicine can worse the symptoms that you already have, which sounds crazy. Therapy that we should be using should be behavioral therapy, mindfulness, social, emotional are key learnings to learn coping skills with the symptoms that children have with ADHD. Like I mentioned, medication is like a band-aid. Children should be learning how to regulate their emotion, control their impulsiveness, and deal with the hyperactivity trait that they're gonna have to deal with their entire life. A lot of the medicines kind of put a stop on how you feel, and stress and our daily life is just natural for a human to go through. In conclusion, medicine for ADHD should only be used as last resort. When I went to my first meeting about my son and his behavior and his learning disability, the first thing they said is, well, this is the medicine that can help him. And I feel like that should have been the last resort. That shouldn't be the first thing that was offered to me. Drugs often make them feel worse. It's like just covering their symptoms, which they should need to learn to manage. And think about it, these kids are gonna have to depend on medication for the rest of their life, and I feel like that's something that we should do at the end or as last resort. There's so many options for intervention. They can even try meditating to deal with their, how to channel their emotions. There's so many things that they can do, and I feel like parents, teachers, and doctors can do more to control or help the kids control their emotion and behavior. We must teach them how to cope with these to enable them to have the best personal, academic, and professional success in adults. So this is my citation, Parker Harvey C. Problem Solver Guide for Students with ADHD. ADHD Market Case Study, Life Cycle Management Strategies in the Attention Deficit. Fernandez de la Cruz Lorena, Treatment of Children with Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Thank you guys. I know this is our last speech. It was a pleasure seeing all your speeches, and you guys have a great summer.